Okay, welcome everybody. Healthy Habiteer meeting going on here. And I've invited some of our top point getters to talk to us tonight. So we've got Chris and Ronnie, and they are among our team members that have the highest number of points. And I am going to, okay, I muted you for a minute, Ronnie, because there's kind of a weird feedback going on. And so I muted you for a minute, so I'll unmute you when it's time for you to answer. So I'm just going to start by asking you a couple questions, Chris, all right?
All right.
Okay, so there's a lot of habits of health on this, and we can get 10 to 15 points a day depending on the day if there's bonus points and things. So will you start by telling me the thing that's been the easiest points for you to get that maybe you had as a habit of health in place anyway before you started this program, and then maybe the one that you've had to really work on each day that was a good thing for you to start doing. So will you start with that?
Sure. Yeah, before this program, I did try to do some things that are pretty healthy. I've built a habit of exercising, so it was fairly easy to keep an exercise log since I've already sort of incorporated that habit into my life, and also keeping a pretty good tab on what I'm eating as well. So the food log really wasn't foreign to me at all. So that was pretty comfortable. A couple of habits that I've sort of had to pick up: drinking 80 ounces of water. I know that seems easy, but when I'm running around all day, sometimes I don't think to stop and take a drink from time to time, and I've noticed the difference. And it's been interesting, how big of a focus that's been in this program, and I really appreciate that because I've definitely felt the difference in my health.
So be specific, what is the difference that you have felt?
Often by the end of the day, I sort of develop a little bit of a headache. And my joints seem to sort of act up a little bit by towards the end of the day too. But I've noticed that if I just keep drinking, enough water, I can really avoid getting those headaches.
Wow!
I really haven't had those for the past couple of weeks, and I really attribute that to the water. And I've been following the research on that. And, a lack of water is, one symptom is definitely headaches. Mm-hmm. So I've really appreciated that. Another habit that's been, a little bit more difficult, but it's been really good for me too, is sharing successes and challenges with the team. I think I am pretty team oriented, but as far as my health choices and healthy living, I sort of keep to myself. And so it's been really neat to be motivated by the other team members, and to be able to maybe pitch in a little bit of motivation and enthusiasm to the group. So I'd say those are sort of some of the good things that I've sort of picked up.
Good, wonderful, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Ronnie. Yeah. So, are you willing to share, Ronnie, about what habits? You've been doing the program since July, so you probably had a lot of these habits going already when we started the challenge. So we might have to go back to thinking before you started the program, the Take Shape for Life program. So you can decide if you want to talk about just the last 6 weeks, or if you want to talk about, starting back in July. So what things were you doing already?
Well, my food, I was already on the 5-in-1 or the 4 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
And so that part of the challenge was easy because I was already doing it. And just like Chris said, with the water, there's a lot of times that I wouldn't get my water in during the day, and now I've just made it that, you know, when I eat breakfast, I have a big, like 2 cups of water with breakfast, and then when I have my snack, I drink another cup of water. And so every time I eat something, I, you know, try to drink a cup or 2 of water with it. And so I found that by doing that, by the end of the day, I've met my goal. And that, but before I wasn't doing that. It was just, you know, I'd get home and I'd think, how much water did I drink today? And maybe, you know, half of what I was supposed to have.
Okay. So have you noticed any positive results? I mean, the first couple weeks you do the water, you think you're going to die. You have to go to the bathroom so often. And I hear from clients, I'm getting my exercise just running to the bathroom. But remember the thing you read that talked about how it kind of levels out after your body flushes out the old water? It kind of levels out. Have you noticed that? But since you've been drinking it consistently,
it
does level out. So there is hope.
But the other thing I've noticed too is I used to get cramps in my legs a lot at night and have, you know, restless legs. And since I've been getting more of the water, I don't get that.
Interesting. Well, that's good. That's good news. So yeah, dehydration. A lot of times things that people go get medication for, water alone would help them feel better. No reason to take restless leg syndrome medication. Just drink water during the day. Isn't that something? Such a natural thing that's here so plentifully. Okay, so is there something that was difficult, has been difficult for you to get that point, Ronnie, that's kind of a challenge? And then maybe we can give you some ideas of how to do it.
Well, I mean, the exercise one for me, only because of the situation that I'm in right now is hard. And that, you know, I try to do all the arm ones and the upper body and that, but anything that she has on the floor or anything squats or anything like that, I cannot do right now. Until after my surgery.
Yeah. She's got a hip that bothers her, but it will be resolved soon.
13 days.
Who's counting?
Yeah, not me, you know, not me.
So how long, when you have a surgery like that, how long are you down?
They have me up walking that day.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. That'll be good. All right.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to be able to, I'm taking 5 weeks off of work. So
okay.
Walking fast by the time I get back there.
Oh, that'll be fun. All right. So is there anything about the challenge that if we were, you know, we do these challenges 2 or 3 times a year. So is there any advice you'd give to those organizing the challenge of things that could make it easier besides the getting it up and working right from the beginning? That was a frustration to everybody at the first, wasn't it? That they just really didn't have the memory or the whatever. The
bandwidth.
Yeah, bandwidth, something to support the amount of traffic. And so remember the first week how you couldn't get on when you tried to. But that's been resolved now. Have you had any issues with trying to get on now? Okay.
No.
So
it's been really good.
Yeah. Is there any habit of health that you think, gee, I wish that was one of the habits of health that we talked about that I'd like to add next time, or something you'd want to subtract? Do you have any advice to the challenge organizers that I can pass on?
You know, not necessarily a habit of health that I'd either take away or add. I think that there's a good variety of things, and I wouldn't say that there's necessarily any that I would take away. You know, when I was first starting with this program, it was sort of overwhelming. just because there were so many things going on, you know, and so and I didn't really feel like the instructions were terribly clear on the website. And so I wonder if there's some way that they could, you know, make it more into like a 3-step, you know, first put in your food log or your food plan and your exercise plan. Then, you know, taking your water and make sure you're staying with the plan. And 3, you know, do some learning with, you know, Dr. A and you know, some of the exercise, you know, tips and things, just so that it's a little bit more accessible.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
is what I'm hearing you say that maybe you'd start with, let's just start with the 2 or 3 habits the first week, and then week 2 we'll add 1 more habit, and week 3 we'll add 1 more habit. So maybe by the end we'd be doing several habits, but we'd just kind of start gradually.
Yeah, you know, that's one way that you know, it might work. I think that it also might work, you know, all of the habits are important.
Right.
So maybe just grouping the habits a little bit so that people know that there's really only 3 main things that I have to do, or maybe, you know, and then within those 3 or 4 main things, there are a couple of things that people have to do. But it's just a little bit easier to grasp if there's only a couple of things you have to keep track of.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if that makes any more sense, but I think too, maybe, you know, building the habits a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, because what you talked about is at first it was so overwhelming to get it all at once. So that's what I wondered if that's what you meant. But okay, well, that'd be interesting too. And so do you think it's in the web design and how they have it grouped on the page? That's maybe what needs to be looked at, or?
Yeah, you know, I think there's some really simple things that they could change on the home screen,
Mm-hmm.
you know, on the home page, you know, and they could keep the instructions on the home page throughout the challenge.
Yeah.
And, you know, just maybe having a really simple 1 or 2 minute video, you know, showing people how to navigate the pages too.
And you know, I think there is, right at the top of the screen, there's one you click on and it does teach you how to navigate. I think maybe you just haven't seen that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
At the top of the page, because I accidentally clicked on it one time and it was teaching, I think it was Amber showing how to navigate the website.
Oh, okay.
So next time you go to log in, look at that and see if that, having seen it. So maybe that's a good note for me, is our very first team meeting, for me to share the screen and for us to navigate it together and make sure everybody's seeing everything on the page. So that would be a note I need to make to myself to make sure. Okay. All right. Great. So, Ron, anything that you would do the same or different next?
You know what I liked was when they did that webinar on going to the store and what foods to buy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you know, if they went into a little bit more depth on that, you know, showing, you know, just other things, you know, other than just a few things to buy, but, you know, actually, you know, doing a full shopping cart, you know, or doing a full week's worth of shopping and showing what you should do, and, you know, or go to a farmer's market, get this vegetable and not this vegetable,
Yeah.
you know, things like that.
That's good. Thank you for that input. All right. I will pass those on to the powers that be. Okay. So we've got a couple minutes left. Is there any advice you want to give to our other coach, our other team members, of how, since you guys are the 2 of the top point getters, how are you, and we'll start with you, Ronnie, at what time of day are you getting, do you start in the morning and do some of the things, or just at night? When do you actually have time to get on the computer and record your points? How are you doing that?
I start in the morning while I'm eating my breakfast, and I do the reading. I watch the exercise video and any other webinars that are there, and then at night is when I'll put in my food log. I mean, I pretty much have it planned out every day what I'm going to have anyway, so it doesn't take a lot of thinking to put in a food log for me. And then I finish it up before, at night when I get home.
Good. Yeah, I found that sometimes my nights are pretty busy, and if I just start at night, then I'm not getting the sleep I need. So I've done the same thing, that I start in the morning, and I actually plan my meals out at the first of the day. So I put my food log in at the first of the day, and then if I've stuck to my plan and stayed on program, then I give myself the point at the end of the night that I stuck to my plan. So, so I take the time to do that in the morning as well. And right now I am about 5 days behind on my daily reading, and I don't know if you knew that. That's the one daily thing that can carry over. So if you don't have a chance, because there was one about emotional eating about 5 days ago, and I've sat down to read that 3 or 4 times, and then the phone rings or my son walks in, and so I just exit out of it, but it's still there waiting for me, and it's waiting for me to read that one first, and then it goes to the next day, to the next day. So if you have a day that you're short on time, skip the daily reading, because that's the one thing carries over, and you can do it the next day or even a week later. So if anybody's behind on their daily reading, go back and you can read them right from the beginning of the challenge. So if there's a team member watching this that thinks, oh, I could never get all the points, you can go back and get 4 weeks of daily reading right now. Just read 2 or 3 a day and get caught up. So you could get some extra points that way. But the other things don't carry over. If you don't put your exercise in today, it's gone. You don't get a chance to go back and get that one. And of course, y'all know the weekly challenges you have from Monday morning to Sunday night to get those points anytime during the week. Okay, so Chris, what system are you using to enter your points?
It sounds like I use a very similar system that you use. I usually put in my food log in the morning, and then it's really motivating for me. I don't know about the rest of the team, but if I put something down for the food that I'm going to eat, I try to stick to it. I don't know if I'm just really habitual or what, but if I put it down, I'm going to stick to it, and so that really helps me control my food intake. And then like you, if I stick with it, then I give myself that extra point. And then I usually do the reading and the other pieces in the evening. I realize that life is so busy, and there are lots of things that come up. So I'm really glad that I can access it on my phone too. Yeah. So I don't have to pop on my laptop, or I don't have to be at home in order to log in. If I have a late night, if I'm in the office late or whatever, I can just put it up on my phone, and the videos and everything, it's all accessible on smartphones too. So
yeah, that's great. Well, that's great. Okay, so Chris, is there anything that you'd want to cover tonight that I haven't thought about?
No, I don't think so. Just I realize that the challenge is coming to a close here pretty quick, and
we've got 2 more weeks though.
Yep, 2 more weeks, and we're gonna finish strong, definitely. I think that it's I love these sort of challenges. I mean, they sort of kick me into gear a little bit, but the real key is that I hope that I'll be able to keep the habits going.
Mm-hmm.
The habits really are the important piece, because once we have habits in place, then we don't have to think consciously quite as much about, getting these things done, because we'll automatically think about them and we'll automatically want to do them. And then hopefully too, I've already started to see some positive changes because I've been doing these things, and those will be reinforcing too. So hopefully I'll have a virtuous cycle going, where one thing leads to another, and a good thing will lead to another good thing. And so
yeah, I think that it's somebody that said it takes 21 days to create a new habit. So by having the length of, I was thinking it's maybe not coincidental that we have 42 days of the challenge. It's 6 weeks long. So it's double the 21 days. So because some of these habits that I just was reading about in the emotional eating, it's not going to, we have this, the way our brain is wired, it's going to take longer to unlearn an old habit and replace it with a new habit. So we have double the time of a regular habit, and I think that's really good. So, okay, so Ronnie, what other things would you like to cover that I haven't thought about?
You know what? I think we've pretty much covered everything. Stick to it. Don't give up. And I look at the other team members and the points that they have, and I think that they were excited the first day or maybe the second day, and then just stopped. And so it's you want to say, hey, what are you thinking? You paid to get in this, and now you're just not doing it. That's wrong. But, like in the last call, sometimes people have to fail first before they realize, okay, I really need to do this. But I think that we pretty much covered everything.
Okay, sorry. My son needs to talk to me right now. I'll call you. Okay? I have no idea. He wants to know how to get to some. I don't know, honey. I don't know which exit. I don't know. He's going somewhere. He needs to know which exit on the freeway. I don't know. Okay. So the one last thing is our habit of health this week is avoiding the yo-yo cycle. And so I just wanted to take 30 seconds to just remind people that sometimes if we are emotional eaters, then we've gotten to this habit of when I'm good, I'm really, really good, but when I'm bad, I'm horrid. And so, I had one cookie, so since I already can't count today that I was perfect on my eating plan, then I may as well have all these other things I would. So we need to avoid that thinking of that I can't have this. We have freedom of choice. We can have anything anytime we want. Nobody's there putting you in handcuffs and force feeding you. So you can choose anytime you want. So I don't want you to ever feel like you're restricted, and your plan is what you chose it to be. So just keep in mind of what you want the most. And for me right now, I really want to be a winner on the challenge, and I've got the points I need, and I really need to stick with the eating program that I know will work for me so I can finish losing those last few pounds I need to get the 6%. So hang in there, everybody, and try to avoid that yo-yo mentality of thinking, if I'm not perfect, that means I shouldn't even try. Because there's nobody that's perfect, right? We all have those moments. And so just know you're just one decision away from being right back on track. And so if you make a decision that your detour, think about it like a GPS. And have you ever, with your GPS, turned the wrong way? And it just says, recalculating. It doesn't say, you're sure stupid. Why did you go the wrong way? But sometimes to ourselves, we're kind of telling ourselves, oh, I'm a bad person. I'm so weak. Don't do that. Just think recalculating. you know, and just turn and get back on the path you plan to be on. So just think about, be nice to yourself like your GPS is to you. Just recalculate, get back on.
Good advice. Good
All right.
advice.
All right. So everybody, do what you need to get back on track if you're not. And we'd love you to get every point you can for the rest of the 2 weeks, because there still are going to have some team challenges that the team that gets the most weekly points will still be having some incentive things each week. So everybody do the best they can to help us win some of these last week challenges. And thanks for getting on, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All righty.